Hi, good day Purposive Communication class. In the previous lesson, you read a short introduction about communication as well as the communication models. In this lesson, you will find out that there are different guidelines in communicating in an ethical manner. For today's discussion, we are going to discuss about communication processes, principles, and ethics. Ethics play a vital role in communication. When we communicate, we should consider how helpful or harmful our words and actions are to others. The U.S. National Communication Association, or NCA 1999, discusses their credo for ethical communication, stating that ethical communication is fundamental to responsible thinking, decision making, and the development of relationships and communities within and across contexts, cultures, channels, and media. The term ethics comes from the Greek word ethos, which means custom, habit, character, or outlook. Regardless of an individual moral principle that is relativistic, ethics in communication can take a universal approach, which can be displayed in several ways, including but not limited to the following. First, it advocates truthfulness, accuracy, honesty, and reason as essential to the integrity of communication. Truthfulness and honesty is the most core principle of ethical communication. This means that speaking 99% of the truth in a matter while leaving out 1% of the facts is not ethical communication, as omitting any detail intentionally changes the way that a listener will perceive an event. Thus, being 100% open and transparent and hiding nothing is the key in order for all business relationships, whether within the business between its members or with business and their partners or even customers, to succeed in a short term and long term. Being honest is linked to one's personal and professional trustworthiness and integrity. In a perfect world, all members of an organization would have a positive reputation of honesty, such that listeners never doubt that what they are saying is 100% true. Within an organization and between businesses, this type of honest communication can be the difference between a project being completed successfully or not. For instance, utilizing ethical communication to be honest about the time and or budget constraints during a board meeting with primary stakeholders can be the difference between the project meeting its goals or failing due to misunderstanding and or miscommunication. Thus, one of the primary goals of ethical communication is to prevent any misunderstandings or instances of miscommunication. Second, it endorses freedom of expression, diversity of perspective, and tolerance of dissent to achieve the informed and responsible decision making fundamental to a civil society. Nowadays, we are divided because of our various political beliefs, but we must understand and put it in our hearts that though we may have different political beliefs, still, we must, if not accept, respect and not despise everyone's viewpoint. That is, respecting someone's freedom of expression. Remember, your personal beliefs and opinions make you unique because not others' opinions match your own. Just avoid personal attacks. Do not coerce nor oppress others. Third, it condemns communication that degrades individuals and humanity through distortion, intimidation, coercion, and violence, and through the expression of intolerance and hatred. Distortion occurs when someone purposefully twists information in a way that detracts from its original meaning. Unfortunately, some speakers take information and uses it in a manner that is not in the spirit of the original information. One place we see distortion frequently is in the political context, where politicians cite data and either completely alters the information or use it deceptively. FactCheck.org, a project of the Annenberg Public Policy Center, is a nonpartisan organization devoted to analyzing political messages and demonstrating how information has been distorted. So, before we comment things, fact checking must be done first. Fake news sites have become rampant for Philippine audiences, especially being shared on social media. We are all overwhelmed with the rise of fake news, misleading sources, satirical content, clickbait, and alternative facts. Now, how to spot false information or fake news? There are a number of things to watch out for when evaluating content online. Number 1. Take a closer look. Check the source of the story. Do you recognize the website? Is it a credible or reliable source? If you are unfamiliar with the site, look in the About section or find out more information about the author. Second, look beyond the headline. Check the entire article. Many fake news stories use sensationalist or shocking headlines to grab attention. Often, the headlines of fake news stories are in all caps lock and use exclamation points. Third, check other sources. Are other reputable news or media outlets reporting on the story? Are there any sources in the story? If so, check they are reliable or if they even exist. Fourth, check the facts. Stories with false information often contain incorrect dates or altered timelines. It is also a good idea to check when the article was published. Is it current or an old news story? Fifth, check your biases. Are your own views or beliefs affecting your judgment of a news feature or a report? Sixth, is it a joke? Satirical sites are popular online and sometimes it is not always clear whether a story is just a joke or a parody. Check the website. Is it known for satire or creating funny stories? Fake news can have a negative impact on workplace behavior, for example, by damaging learning culture and causing rumor and mistrust to spread. So it is vital to know how to separate the real from the fake. Fourth, communicators should accept responsibility for a short and long-term consequences of our own communication and expect the same of others. As noted before, a core tenet within any ethical communication framework is taking responsibility for the actions that result from one's word, whether it be good or bad. This includes both short-term and long-term consequences of one's communications. Owning one's words reinforces the importance of being conscientious about ethical communication. We must be accountable on the words we utter. That is why it is very important to be careful on what we say. In this section, you have learned the basics of thinking through the ethics of public speaking. Knowing about ethics is essential, but even more important to being an ethical public speaker is putting that knowledge into practice. We should begin by thinking through possible ethical pitfalls prior to standing up and speaking out. As the saying goes, before you speak, think. Is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? Is it kind? This time, we are going to talk about communication and globalization. Globalization and global are terms we often encounter today. These terms are associated with realities outside the territories of nation states. All countries are engaged in globalization. Very few, if any, societies are unaffected by this phenomenon. Because of this, we need to understand exactly what it is and more importantly, how it impacts communication. What is globalization anyway? In simple terms, globalization is the process by which people and goods move easily across borders. Principally, it is an economic concept, the integration of markets, trade, and investments with few barriers to slow the flow of products and services between nations. There is also a cultural element as ideas and traditions are traded and assimilated. What are the effects of globalization towards communication? Some of these are increased business opportunities, fewer cultural barriers, and creation of global village. First, increased business opportunities. Many companies today hire employees that are located in the other countries. Using communication medium, specifically English, makes it simple to converse as if they are in the same place. With communication technology, many businesses are able to take opportunities in different countries and improving economic outlook on global level. Second, fewer cultural barriers. When people from two different cultures try to exchange information, the way they speak, body language, or mannerisms can be interpreted differently by the other person, which influenced by culture. Globalization has made it possible. With television and movies, it helps people to understand each other's cultures a little better. Third, creation of global village. Last but not the least, globalization has created a global village where distance and isolation no longer matter because people are connected by technology. Globalization has made it easier to see people on the different side of the world as a neighbor instead of a stranger from a faraway land. Furthermore, because of the advent of the internet, the world seems to be shrinking continually. One can communicate internationally in a matter of seconds, whether one is sending an email, chatting on social media, or sending a text message. One can read about different cultures and have access to films, academic papers, and the like from countries around the world, and vice versa. Given this increasingly shrinking world, one should know the difference between the kind of English that we write and speak and the kind of Englishes that exist outside the Philippines. There you have it. That concludes the topics in your Week 3 instructional module in JEC 003 or Purposive Communication. If you have finished the video, kindly comment the words that will appear on your screen. Thank you and have a great day.